Hello again. Now then, since the last video I made a list of items that I've done over the last 2 years that I hadn't recorded or posted on YouTube, and there's quite a lot, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is just go through the bits and pieces one at a time, just show you what's been done. It may take 1 or 2 videos because it could be quite lengthy. Some of the parts have been purchased, machined just to fit on the loco itself. Other parts have been bought as castings that have needed machining to then fit to the loco, and some of the other items I've just made myself. So to start with, let's just have a look on the cylinder front. What we can see there is a Doug Hewson pressure relief valve. Now I've had these castings for yonks, and they've probably appeared on a previous video at some point. So they've been machined up and had a plunger machined with a spring actuation. Now then, they are fitted to the cylinder covers, but I've not made them operational. What I mean is there is no hole through the cylinder cover to allow steam or water through these valves. Now then, what I might do in the future, once I've proved that the rest of the loco is working, I may drill that hole and make these operational. In model form, they're not strictly necessary to be fully working, but I do think they need to be there from a aesthetics point of view. So that's them. Now then, what else? Oh yeah, onto the boiler. There we have the top feed clacks. A very neat job then. They were bought, as you see them, fully machined up to screw straight into the boiler. I did have a look at sort of fabricating something, and I made a half-hearted attempt to make something that looked prototypical, but it was rubbish really, so I ended up buying some. Again, that's a Doug Hewson product. Got them from Steam Workshop. Now then, these are that's one of the safety valves, if it'll ever focus. They come from Polymodels. Now then, this I've done nothing with. This is just a casting, or a pair of castings, from Doug Hewson again, and what happens is this piece needs threading and machining through there, and will sit in the top of the boiler, and then this bit will screw to that bit, and in effect you've got it'll look something like that on top of the boiler. And that will provide the feeds for the steam brakes, the injectors, the blower, and something else I can't think of. But anyway, so that's yet to machine. What you probably notice is I've clad this boiler with some, what this is rubberized cork. Now then, that's going to form the insulation for the boiler, and the brass cladding will go over here. Now then, a lot of people, or the drawings, suggest using something like care wool, and I did have a go at wrapping this in care wool, but it's such a ball ache to get it to go where you want it and to be even. So I decided to go down this route, which seems, well, it's certainly a lot more manageable. One thing that they always tell you is measure twice and cut once, and obviously I didn't there, and I made a balls up of cutting these out for the safety valves, but luckily with this stuff I could recut them and glue the other bit back in. So that's that. Whilst we're still on the boiler, what I made here is a set of fire hole doors. And that was quite interesting. especially getting all the linkages to work in unison and be smooth. But yeah, that's that. Now then, another purchased kit from the Doug Hewson stable is this reversing gearbox, which resides in the cab once it's built. And basically what this does, I'll tell you what, let me just put the phone down. Okay, what this does, this is the driver's control for the reverser, and this was an interesting little kit to machine and assemble. Basically what you've got the hand wheel here, which drives a shaft to a pair of bevel gears, which sends the drive 90 degrees in that direction. In here you've got a worm screw and a worm gear in here, so as the shafts rotate, the indicator can be observed against the pointer. The drive then continues out the back of there via a universal joint, and then this shaft then goes down to the reversing screw further down the loco, and there's another universal joint which fits at the other end. So yeah, just I've got the exploded diagram of that so you can see what's going on. So there's a lot of fitting, and it's quite a precision piece of kit. So yeah, another job complete. What I've got here, this is a brake valve that I manufactured, and it's a three-way valve insofar as, well, I think this is how you describe it, but it allows steam to be provided to the brakes to obviously put the brakes on and stop the locomotive. But when the brakes are released, obviously you've got pressure still in that system, so in order for the brakes to release, then you need to exhaust the pressure that was in the brake line. So if you just show the drawing here, you can see these various ports, and then you can see the valve, the rotating valve, which is this bit here. So as you turn the valve, then as these slots here either cover or uncover these ports here, will either bring the brakes on or remove the brakes and exhaust the pressure in the system, I think, anyway. The other job I've done here, which is a similar sort of situation, is the valve for the drain cocks, the steam operated drain cocks, and that's a very similar situation with an exhaust port there to release the steam once you don't need the drain cocks shut. Okay. Another little job when I was a bit bored was to, because I'd made a start on the insulation and I've got the brass for the cladding of the boiler. I thought, well, I better make some mud hole doors and washout plugs, and so I made a boatload of them. I've made a bit more than I need because I dare say I'll bugger some up as I'm fitting them. Now I've just shown you the reversing gearbox and showed you the universal joints which will drive a shaft which will come down to this screw here, which operates the lifting arms, which operates the valve gear in either to neutral, forward or reverse. Now then, the reason this drill chuck's on here is just to help me turn the thing. That will not be on the finished loco, but what's required here is a left hand thread of Acme form, and obviously there's the screw itself and the nut. Now then, the way I made this was to grind some tools up, a little boring bar, and the first job I did was to screw cut the nut. Okay, and I got it to where I thought was somewhere near size. Then went on to cut the external thread in the screw, and it was just a matter of taking light cuts and keep trying the nut. Anyway, it got to a point where the nut was starting on the thread in so much as it was going on maybe a couple of turns and then getting tight, and I thought, well, if I take another cut it's going to overcook it. So what I did was, whilst the screw was still in the lathe, I got a spanner on the nut, and with plenty of oil and brasso, just kept turning the nut. Obviously the brass or bronze nut is softer than the steel, and basically what happened was the Acme steel thread burnished the inside of the female thread and made a good tight fit. So that's that. Moving across to the other side of the loco from the reversing screw, another little job I've done here is make this damper which is attached to the weigh shaft, and I don't know whether you've ever noticed it, but you see a loco run, you get some slight oscillation in these arms as the expansion links oscillate backwards and forwards, and what this does is just try to eliminate some of that oscillation in the weigh shaft. What it also does is, because there's the springs in here, and there's a more powerful spring on one side than the other, and that allows that it eases, shall we say, it acts against gravity, if you like, so it makes the job of lifting the arms easier for the screw, if you get my logic. Anyway, so that's that. What else? Oh yeah, I got a laser cut kit for the cab and running boards and what have you. That's going to be a video in itself, because there's all sorts to talk about on that. And then what else? Right, this job, in fact I've just finished it today. Quite a simple job. What this is a hollow stay. Now then, what that does, it fits in the back head there, goes through the boiler and out to this end here. From this end it'll be piped to the blast pipe, and hence the blower to draw the fire. This bit of wire you see here, ignore that, that's just to help me feed the thing through any road. So all it consists of is a thick-walled copper pipe, you can see there, 1/4 inch diameter, threaded 1/4x40 there. Where these unions thread into the back head and the front plate, that's 3/8 by 40. So you bung it in from one end, if you like, and then as you screw this into the back head, it also, because it's the same pitch of thread, i.e. 40 TPI, as that screws into the back head, it also screws onto the pipe itself. So I'll get it assembled and just take a couple of stills of it in position. Okay, thanks very much.